Hi guys and welcome to day 1 of Boku no Hero Academia week. If you don't know what that is, you can either go watch the video I did about it, or you can just I don't know, figure it out as the week goes by. If you want to, there's still you can still comment on a topic you want me to make for a video. I'm still deciding. I got a lot of good options and I'm kind of figured out what I want to do, but someone may have the perfect idea that I decided to do is that, so you can still comment and see, and maybe someday I'll do all of them because I had some pretty interesting comments. But yeah, this is the first day of Boku no Hero Academia week, and I don't know what I'm gonna call this video yet because it's kind of like an elaborate theory that I've never been really good at putting one theory into a video. I usually have a video and it contains 3 ideas, so I'm gonna call this the end of the All Might era theory, and in this theory there are several theories that compile one enormous idea I have. We'll see how it goes. It'll probably be 20-30 minutes long. We'll see. I never know how to stop talking, so. But yeah, this is the end of the All Might era theory, possibly. And this theory contains the idea of not only All Might dying, but All Might and basically everyone from his generation who knows about One for All and the impact that will have on the world of Boku no Hero Academia, or I guess just Japan, and also a very elaborate theory on All Might's death. But let's talk about first the people who I think will die, because that's a nice topic. Basically, All Might's death is basically certain. We've known this from the beginning of the series that All Might is definitely gonna die at some point. The question is just when and how. And if we were doubting that he would die at some point, especially after the Camino Ward arc where he should have died but didn't die, it's we found out that Night Eye saw in the future that he would die. And yeah, of course, with the recent chapters, he's seen a future that obviously won't come true, but with this All Might dying thing, I think we can assume that he is right in seeing All Might dying, and pretty soon, in fact. But in addition to All Might dying, obviously I do think Night Eye will die as well, because I think his power, for one, his power is just, it's crazy being able to see the future, and of course there are limits, and he also uses it, he puts his own limits on this because he doesn't want to see people die and not be able to do anything about it. But I still think his power is pretty crazy. And on top of that, I think he has to die because he never once believed in Deku as the successor of One for All. So I think that it's very important that he dies, or at least he should at least change his mind, but I think it's more impactful if he dies, also just because with everything that just happened, I think it looks like he might survive, but I really want him to die. And again, it's just, I think that all my people should die, but I'll come back to why it's gonna be a big thing that they all die. Another person I'm very, very certain will die is Gran Torino. First of all, he's the old teacher, and they kind of always die. It's not a rule, but very often you'll see these people, this character, they die, especially shonen manga / anime. And just again, because I think he knows about One for All, and All for One, I guess. They know about that history, and as we'll talk about later, that's gonna be a big thing, possibly, if I'm right? Another person I really, really think will die, it's Sakauchi. If you don't remember who that is, it's All Might's best friend, who's the police officer who everyone thinks is a traitor, or 50%. I think everyone at some point has thought that he's the traitor, and then as you get further into the series, you start these more elaborate traitor theories. But I'm gonna get a little bit more into his death, because that's a big point in how I think All Might will die. 2 other people I think should die because they know about One for All are the UA principal, the little cat dog mouse person, and also Recovery Girl. The UA teacher the UA principal is a very smart character, and I think again, he should be killed off if he's a person who ends up becoming a big assistance in the fight against the League of Villains. I think he should die, because I do think that when it comes down to it, it should be our class. Of course, it should be Deku and Bakugo, mostly Deku, but also Bakugo. But mostly it should be our current first years who should be the main force of taking out the League of Villains, and we can't do that if we have all these like really strong or smart people who outrank them or something. So that's just another way of getting rid of those characters. Just kill them all. And Recovery Girl. I have a big reason for why I think Recovery Girl should die, and that is basically because she's a failsafe. She has already warned Deku a lot of times that she can't keep healing him, and he has the scars to prove that, and he knows that he shouldn't go above his limits, because at some point it's just irreversible. He's just broken his body so much that he can't be healed anymore. And I think losing Recovery Girl is gonna be a big step forward as well, because he's still like, it's not that he's as reckless. He's nowhere near as reckless as he was in the beginning of the series, but there are still times where he just does something stupid, or he has to use his power way more than his body can handle, and at some point, I don't think Recovery Girl should be able to be there for him. I think it should have either bigger consequences, or he should be in a situation where he's like, okay, I might be able to win if I go all out, but that would mean literally at the end of my career, because I cannot be saved after this. I want him to either stand with a choice, or just have a serious consequence of how much he's literally hurt himself with his own power. So yeah, and I also do think that All For One will die at some point, after we've seen him one more time, perhaps? I don't know, because right now he's just in prison. But yeah, that's another theory that I probably won't make, but I do think that the people we've seen, they're like, Stain as well, he'll come back. There's no reason to just keep them in prison forever, like, they'll come back. It's like with Impel Down, these characters come back. Okay. Let's go, it's a little bit of a sidetrack, but again, I don't know how to contain one theory in one video, so let's just like, an elaborate theory on how I think All Might should die. There are no details, like particular details in this theory, it's just, how I think the series has set up for him to die, and how it's really only, it's only fair if he goes out this way, and also it lines up with where the story is going. And it has to do mostly with Tsukauchi and Gran Torino storyline at this point, because if you remember about 50 chapters ago, after the Camino Ward arc, where All Might is in the hospital and Gran Torino and Tsukauchi are there, and he's like, well, the last flame has gone out, I basically don't have All For One anymore, I can't use it. And they start talking about Shigaraki and how he's connected to the previous One For All holder, and All Might is like, I really want to see him, and Tsukauchi and Gran Torino say, no, you can't do that, because no matter what ties he have to the former holder of your power, he's a villain. Like, nothing should excuse that. Which, good point. And then Tsukauchi and Gran Torino basically like, we'll continue this investigation, and then I think it was just before this arc, so like 25-30 chapters ago, Tsukauchi came to Gran Torino with a clue / lead that he'd found on the League of Villains, and he basically goes off to investigate this by himself. I think maybe in the next arc, or depending on what the next arc is, I don't know how this is going to be set up, but I think the clue that Tsukauchi has found, or the lead, I'm going to call it the lead because that's a better term for what I'm trying to say here, the lead he's found will lead him to his death, basically. And I think All Might will meet Shigaraki, and the thing I think that his death will parallel the scene we had with Deku and Bakugo with the sludge the sludge monster in the beginning of the series, where Kachan is taken by the sludge monster and Deku, powerless, quirkless, tries to save him, and All Might then comes and saves his ass because he's really not strong enough to save Kachan by himself. I think with All Might it's gonna be the same. Tsukauchi is taken by the League of Villains. All Might rushes in, quirkless, defenseless, and tries to help. And in a blaze of glory, basically, he will go out as a hero trying to have saved someone, but he will fail because there is no All Might to save him. Tsukauchi, there's like a 90% chance that Tsukauchi would die in this scenario. It depends on how dark you want the scenario to be, because All Might could die a hero and have saved him, or he could die failing to save him, which is just very sad. I do want him to go out as a hero and having saved someone, but I also want it to be a very tragic moment where he realized that he really couldn't do anything because he has no powers and he's up against literal Shigaraki, who is the head of the League of Villains. And of course, it's a very common trope for the main villain or the main antagonist to kill off the protagonist's teacher or a person who's very close to the protagonist. And as we know, All Might will die. That's gonna be the most likely option we have here. But I do think All Might will die trying to save someone, and whether he succeeds or not, I think that depends totally on how dark this story is gonna get, because Boku no Hero Academia is kind of the series that can do both things. It can give you hope, but it can also just throw you into complete and utter despair, because it's the kind of series where you don't really know what you're gonna expect. So that's the little theory on how I think All Might is gonna die. Feel free to leave your opinions on that in the comments. Like, if you have it, I know a lot of people sometimes have like the very clear vision of how someone's gonna die or how some storylines are gonna end, and if you have a storyline for All Might, I'm really interested in hearing that, because I think it's interesting to see how or where people think his storyline will go, because what does he do now that he has no powers and he's a terrible teacher and he favors Deku and he wants to do stuff that he can't really do? I'm really interested in seeing where other people think that his storyline is going, but that's where I think his storyline is going for me, because I think no matter what, he's always going to be a hero with or without his powers, and it's just so happened that without his powers he can't really do much and he will just fail at doing the thing that he's done his entire life. Which, again, sad, but it would parallel the beginning of the story with Kachan and Deku, and how Deku was just not strong enough to save Kachan by himself, but someone came and helped him, even though he failed. But in All Might's opinion, since he's the one who always comes to rescue people, there's just no one to save him. But that leads into the next part of my theory, which is when the symbol of peace died. Let's start there. When the symbol of peace died, when All Might lost his powers, the world basically descended into chaos. We know that crime rates went up. Like, everything just became very chaotic, and this resulted in the examination that was the next arc of the series. It changed to allow more of the students to get their hero license so that they could have more people on, like, have more heroes, because without the symbol of peace, they needed more heroes to fill that gap, because there's no one single person who could just take that symbol of peace title and do what All Might did. And what I think will happen when All Might dies, it'll be a similar situation, except instead of it being the loss for heroes, it'll be the victory of the villains, because they will have succeeded in killing off All Might. It is one of Shigaraki's major goals, it is to kill All Might, and I do believe he will succeed. And that will just, even if he is weakened, it's just the symbolic act of killing him off will be a huge victory for them. And that, combined with killing off more people who know about Deku's power, will result in major chaos, because there are two possibilities here. There's the possibility that the knowledge of Deku's power will get out because Shigaraki knows about it as well. Possibly. I mean, it hasn't been fully confirmed that he knows about it, but I don't see why he wouldn't, why One For All wouldn't have told him about that power. And he could spread this information to just cause chaos and make life harder for Deku, because the power is a power that can be passed on. And if he tells people, well, you could just take the power, like, obviously there's the element of if Deku isn't willingly giving up the power, no one can take it. But if Shigaraki withholds that one piece of information, he can cause absolute chaos for Deku, and thus, like, weaken his biggest opponent here. And there's also the chance that with less people knowing, like, if no one knows except for Deku and Kachan and the villains, no one will know that Deku is a target, because Deku isn't the person who will go up to anyone and say, I'm All Might's successor, therefore I am a big target for the League of Villains. Because while people know that the UA students are a little bit more targeted than others, so far no one has linked it to Deku is the specific target, because up until the Camino Ward arc, the target was Kachan, because they wanted to recruit him. And since then, there hasn't really been a big attack on UA students, so no one can link that to Deku in any way. Which again... and I think the fact that Kachan now knows... I'm sorry that I keep calling him Kachan, I'm just really bad at just calling him Bakugo. But the fact that Kachan now knows about Deku's power is also just what leads me to believe that the people who knew about One For All, who knew about One For All before this series started, they will slowly die or be removed from the series, because now we have characters that we care about, characters who are in our present storyline and always will be in our present storyline and aren't just passing characters, they know about it. So now Deku has Kachan as a person who can share his burden and know about what's going on. Which further relates into all the Kachan material I have planned for you later. Which is another thing about these videos. I'm just going back and forth here. A lot of these videos, despite having a lot of different content, are somehow always connected. Yeah, there's a definite theme during this week, and Bakugo may or may not be featured in 4 out of the 6 videos I have planned, but you know. Yeah. Anyway, going back to what I was talking about. The chaos that will ensue with people either being exposed to the knowledge that Deku has a crazy power that he got from All Might, or the chaos that will... maybe not chaos, but the danger Deku will be in if all the people who knows about his power is him, Kachan, and everyone who hates him. It's gonna be interesting to see how he deals with that, or how society will deal with that. But yeah, basically, to sum up, I think the All Might era will end in the way that All Might and everyone who knows about his power, or One For All, will die or be severely removed from the story in some way, shape, or form. I mean, it could also be due to them betraying them, or being in a coma, I don't know, but being removed from the story in, like, a definite way. And that will basically cause chaos because of the knowledge of Deku's power, and just the legitimate symbol of having killed All Might off. Finally, it'll be a kind of beacon of hope for the villain side, and it will not have a good impact on the hero society. I hope any of this made sense. Because that's basically all I have for this video. Are you proud of me? It was under 30 minutes. I will have a theory in 2 days, I think. I'm gonna try not to clump the theories together. So like, I'm gonna do a theory today. I'm gonna do a top 10 tomorrow, and then another theory, and then depending on when the chapter drops, I'm gonna do that like Thursday or Friday, and then the day that we don't have a chapter, I'm gonna do the Bakugo analysis. Then Saturday will be viewer's choice, which is what you can weigh in on, and then the last day will be how I think the entire series will end. So that's the plan for the week. And I hope you liked this first video. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say. Oh my god, I can't believe that only took 20 minutes. You can leave a like if you liked anything that I had to say, whether it's the idea of all the people who know about One for All dying, the idea I have about how All Might will die, and the possible idea of having a lot of villains target Deku because they want his power, and Shigaraki just basically messing everything up for him and for everyone else. We'll see. And yeah, you can, of course, leave in the comments if you have any ideas to contribute to this topic. So the end of the All Might theory, do you think that All Might's death will be different? Do you think other people will die? What do you think will happen when All Might finally dies? And stuff like that. And you can subscribe if you want to see the end or more of this Boku no Hero Academia week we are doing. Also, if you see me wearing two shirts, to the same shirt in multiple videos, it's just because I filmed them on the same day. So yeah. But that is it, and until tomorrow, where I will have the next Boku no Hero video. Goodbye.